too hot.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Swapping Joysticks. It is the 9th of February 2024. I can never say that word.
February.
February 2024. If you ever spell it, then you have to say it like that.
February.
Yeah, Feb. Or, February the 9th, if you're American. 2024. I am your host, Biggest Ben. What's happening with this podcast already?
What you've done today?
I've been just excited. I've had a very exciting day. I went to the office and met a friend. Yeah. Anyway, I'm Ben, Biggest Bennis. I'm joined as always by indoors Ed Nightingale from Eurogamer fame.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I had a very exciting day today.
Did you? What have you been doing?
Well, something arrived today.
Was it me?
No.
Was it? Oh my God, I know what it was.
It's
a mop.
A new mop.
Ed's got a new mop. Yes, and it's not code for Merkin.
No, it is an actual mop.
Yeah.
I haven't used it yet. I'm
I
very
know,
excited.
I've noticed.
Wow.
I've been out all day. I was expecting to come back to
because I'm the one who does the cleaning.
Not always. I always clean the toilet after I've been in it.
No, you certainly do not.
I almost always clean the toilet after I've, left so many skid marks. It's like Lewis Hamilton's been around it.
Not even joking.
Well, anyway, speaking of poo, how so you got your new mop? Anything else?
No, that's the most exciting thing today.
No, it's not, because something Final Fantasy related. Your preview went up on Eurogamer.
That is true.
And your interview with Kitase.
Indeed.
How was that? How was it meeting Mr. like the Kojima of Final Fantasy?
What? No, he's not.
I know he's not.
He's definitely not. I'm pretty sure that's Nomura.
Yeah. Who was the one that we saw?
You bought Yoshi P?
No, we saw the other guy. Was that Nomura? That FanFest. The creator.
Oh, Sakaguchi.
Sakaguchi, that's it.
Well, yeah, Sakaguchi's like daddy. Like granddaddy.
You can
kind of
clip that.
Sakaguchi is daddy.
Yoshi P's the
zaddy.
Cool okay, right.
No, let's not do this.
This is going on TikTok.
This is not. No, we're not doing this. No, so Nomura is. Oh God, what was his title for 7?
Producer.
I think producer.
You got
and
it wrong.
Kitase was director.
Did you correct all your wrong tweets?
No, I was really bad. So Kitase was the director of the original 7, I believe. He is a producer on Rebirth, and he's the series producer of the whole series right now.
And you called him the creator?
Well, in my headline for my interview, I called him series producer, which was correct.
Okay.
Then in the Eurogamer tweet, I put series director, and then in my own tweet, I put series creator.
Did you correct it at all?
No, but I did put a new one up that was right, so it's fine.
Okay, good.
Not my own, the Eurogame one. Anyway, yes, so I got to meet him, but no, I think Nomura is the Kojima because he was the producer of 7, and then he went on to make Kingdom Hearts, and then he just has a very like distinctive style, I think, that is just weirdness. And so I think anything weird in Final Fantasy / Kingdom Hearts, I think, is down to him, and that's why I say he's the Kojima.
Okay.
Whereas Kitase is much more just like calm and sensible, and yes, I am the series producer, and this is what I'm doing. And we literally just met in a room in BAFTA.
And what did you chatted. Yeah, what did you talk about? Were you having a drink at the time, or
no? We did joke about that actually.
Are you gonna go out for a drink?
No, but
that would be cool.
They kind of sat in and like, I mean, I won't say too much, but he's in the room, the translator and sort of Square Enix staff. They were like, "Oh, it's really hot in here. Do you want a drink?" And I was like, No. They were like, "Oh, we got water or coffee." And then the translator was like, "Oh, unless you want anything harder." And I was like,
Sake?
"Well, what's on offer?"
Did they bring it over?
No.
Oh.
It was a joke.
I mean, that'll get him liquored up. Get him to spill all the secrets.
No.
I mean, you did already with the Tifa in Tekken.
Well, it was not really spilling a secret.
So tell us, what was the Tifa Tekken? This will go on the
T for
the Tifa Tekken. This will go on the TikToks. Tell us.
Well, I mean, we didn't say too much. So if you're unaware, basically fans really want Tifa in Tekken 8.
And as we played a lot of Tekken 8 at the weekend with a friend, and we were like, well, actually with a person who we were interviewing next week for next week's podcast.
Yeah.
But we played a lot of Tekken, and it was really, really, really good.
Tekken's great.
It's brilliant. Oh, we didn't talk about that, so that's something. Yeah, that's a game we've played and we haven't talked about yet.
Well, we can do that later, but
yeah. So we were playing that, and we were like, actually, Tifa would make a really good character.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody says that. I mean, her fighting style is martial arts. She's got all the moves there, special moves available. Like, she's perfect for Tekken. So all the fans are like, when is this happening? This crossover needs to happen. Make it happen. And so they've all been tweeting Harada-san, who's the basically creator of Tekken. And he acknowledged it and was like, yes, I know, she's attractive. You all want her in there. And I think he meant attractive as in, like, she's an attractive proposition as a fighter, as opposed to, yes, I know she's hot. But he said the word attractive, basically.
In Spanish, popular. A person that's popular just means that you're well known.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're actually liked.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So he sort of acknowledged it from the fans. And so then when I met Kitase, I put it to him and was like, okay, well, he said that. So what do you think? And it was all quite hushed. And they were like, he basically was like, there's not a lot I can say about this.
So the fact that there isn't something that he can say. So he's stopping himself from saying it.
The quote that I will read to you exactly is, we have seen on social media that the fans are getting excited about the idea, and it's nice to see them getting excited about the character. That's probably all I can say about it.
I'm not going to
So that's not a denial. It's not a confirmation. We've acknowledged the fans want it.
I don't want to put words into your mouth, so I'm just going to say it from my own. From reading that context, that makes it sound like, yes, it's happening, but we can't talk about it. And we're not giving you the exclusive.
Maybe. I did not get an exclusive. I got a nice little comment there, but it's neither a confirmation nor a denial.
But I saw that, it's been going a little bit wild on Twitter with people going like, that's not a denial.
Well, I wouldn't say wild on Twitter, but unless you've seen something I haven't.
Oh, just the person who I blocked that commented on it.
Wow.
Well, there's a person that commented on it who was very rude to you once, and very rude
Not
to
me
you.
specifically.
Well, very rude to you and Eurogamer. Was it because of the Persona 4 article?
It was because of the lack of representation in Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that one.
Which led to the lack of representation in the staff.
Yeah, okay, and this person decided to be on the, to be against representation. So I think
against Eurogamer.
Yeah, who may just...
And then shared my article, so thank you.
And blocked, so I blocked them. But then, yeah, they shared your article and got you a lot of traffic, I hope.
I hope as well. I hope as well. But yeah, so we chatted about that. And the other thing that I wanted to put to him was Final Fantasy VI. So literally a few days beforehand, he did an interview with a French YouTuber who asked about Final Fantasy VI and basically said, "Mais oui," and asked if you were to do a sort of 7-style remake of 6, like, would you consider that? What would that be like? And Katase's answer said that, like, 6 is so complicated and has so much to it, it would take about 20 years for them to actually do that in a modern style.
Yeah.
I.e., no, it ain't happening.
But people don't need that.
Well, this is true.
Hasn't 6 got its own... I mean, 6 has got its own pretty... It's got one of those timeless art styles.
Well, it's pixels.
Exactly. Like the Pixel... I feel like Pixel is timeless. And you can
It is timeless, yeah.
You can remaster Pixel to just make it a little bit, sharper on the edges or whatever. Maybe update the sprites. Maybe not too much because it looks a bit weird if you do. But like that's an easy remaster. Or even do it in a Octopath setting.
Wow.
You don't need a Final Fantasy VII-esque remaster. Whereas the original Final Fantasy VII, that's a bigger job because you can't, like, unfortunately, the Final Fantasy VII, as great as the original is, it doesn't hold up in today's kind of, if you're going to play a game.
How dare. I think the original 7 looked great. I love the little Lego people.
No.
No.
No, it's all jagged edges and...
Polygons.
No, polygons, this is jagged edges.
Wow.
I don't like jagged edges.
How dare. Well, he said that part of the reason that they're remaking it is that the original 7 is...
What, they're remaking 6?
No. The reason they're remaking 7 in this trilogy is that they don't want the original to be an artifact in history. He said that it'll always be seen as the game your dad played. I was like, thanks.
And also,
now you're making me feel old.
They also want a lot of money.
They do.
I mean, my mother was 30 when I was born, so if we did it, you could have like a 6-year-old kid by now if you just followed norms.
Heteronorms.
Maybe long.
Absolutely not. I asked him if he was put off.
Have a kid at university.
Can you shut up and we talk about this now, please, rather than babies?
Let's talk about video games.
Yes, that's what we're here for.
Much more mature.
I asked him if he was put off doing more remakes of the size because it's been such a big project, and he said it hasn't put me off as such, but certainly we have realised the amount of work involved. Certainly for games from the Super Nintendo era and the PlayStation 1 era, and the actual amount of content that were in those games is a lot more than we remembered. It did blow us away, the amount of time and effort and resources that we need to realise something like a modern remake was much more than we originally imagined it would be. Having said that, I think there's no iron rule that says we have to make everything in a super realistic photoreal art style. There are certainly possibilities there for future creators who want to come back to older games to do them in all kinds of different visual styles and approaches. So I then put to him, well, what about Final Fantasy VI? Because you said that it would take 20 years, but would you consider a remake in a different style, i.e. Octopath's HD 2D style? And he said, I don't have any particular plans, but I think certainly if there is a developer within the company who wants to use that style, or even another style they feel that's really the best approach for the game that they're remaking, and that's the style the fans will want to see it in, I definitely think that's a possibility, and they could very much work with it. I'd be very happy to see that.
That's interesting, and I wonder if that's going to be something that happens, because I thought it was quite... Sorry about that.
Squeaky.
Yeah. Was it Live Alive that had... That was a remake, wasn't it?
It was.
In the kind of Octopath-esque style. I wonder if we'll start seeing that. Because with Octopath being so... I think we're just going to call it the Octopath style. With it being, even though it's not the only one.
HD 2D.
Yeah.
But I mean...
But with it being like
Octopath,
not the... With it being so well received and people loving that style, I wonder if developers are going to look at that and go, we can do that quite easily compared to making a full 3D remake.
Yeah,
I mean, see that with any other games.
Well, the two that spring to mind, firstly, there's Final Fantasy VI, which is why I asked about it. And in the Pixel remaster, there's already a bit of it, which is the opera scene, which you won't know about, but it's one of the most iconic scenes in the game.
Which one, sorry?
6.
In 6, okay, yeah.
There's a whole scene where you perform in an opera, and it's amazing,
Perfect.
and it's got beautiful music. That in the Pixel remaster, I think, is slightly tweaked graphically, which it gives it a bit more depth. I think I'm trying to remember. I haven't played that in Pixel remaster, so I'm trying to remember what was out there when it came out. But I think that's been tweaked. So 6 is kind of the obvious one that people would love a remake of that. I mean, I'd love to see it in full 3D, but just because I love the art style in that game, it's this like steampunky, like fantasy thing, and I would just love to see that in full 3D. The other one is Chrono Trigger, which people would love to see a remake of, but again, people have thrown out HD 2D, and actually, some people I think have already done sort of mock-ups of what that would look like, and they've gone around, and then some people have said, "Oh my god, this looks amazing." Some people have said, "Well, actually, this kind of loses a bit of the charm of the original."
But Tactics.
Tactics, you've got Triangle Strategy, which was HD 2D.
That's true.
So that's kind of already doing that.
Never played that, did you? You finish it?
I didn't finish it. Well, you bought it and then didn't play it, and then I played it.
Yeah,
but I only played like the first bit of it.
I
really liked it, but it's so in depth. I just didn't have time at the time to play it.
Oh. Is that on your list?
Somewhere on the backlog.
Yeah.
It is brilliant. Absolutely, I would recommend it. But yeah, I mean, look, I'd love to see some old games in HD 2D style. Something that is more minimal rather than this full 7 style remake. Even just going back to say 8 or 9 and keeping it as 2D backdrops with 3D characters. Okay. So it is exactly the same, but just like upscaling everything, maybe redrawing things, maybe just tweaking some things to add some depth or whatever, or making the mini games a bit better. I would be totally down for that. Like, you don't have to make it fully 3D. Just take what's there and just upscale it. And I know there were already remasters of 8 and 9 that do that, but do that even more. I'd be totally happy with that. So it's very much a traditional style, but just, boosting the graphics and sound.
Do that. And do it with, you could even do it with the pixel remasters. The old school games.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we've had pixel remasters of 1 to 6. Why don't they do a package of like 7, 8, 9, but don't call them pixel remasters, but just, I don't know, just upscale them a bit.
Or just go on to something else. Go and make an original
game.
Make 17, and I want it to be turn-based.
Oh, don't you start.
And I want it proper fantasy. None of this modern rubbish. And I don't want voice acting. I want to read every single thing, and I want them to bring back the Final Fantasy VIII weird system.
Junction.
Yeah.
Junction's great.
Okay, well, one day I'll play it and you'll have to teach me how to cheat it.
I think I'm one of the few people that loves it, but Junction is great.
Yeah, I think I saw the people in the Eurogamer article not enjoying the Junction system.
No. Well, I like it. I didn't put that in the article because I didn't want to rile people up.
Some people like bad games and like bad things in games. Like, I quite like, for example, breakable weapons in Breath of the Wild.
I quite like that as well.
Yeah.
Especially in Tears of the Kingdom when you can fuse them.
Yeah.
So it gives you more options.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
8 is very experimental, and I like that about it. It's not just...
Apparently the story's shit and goes weird places.
How dare...
That's what I've heard. I only got to the second disc.
Well, in that case, you should finish it before you have a full opinion. That is...
I don't have an opinion. I'm just repeating other people's opinions.
Well, don't do that.
I read it on the internet, so I don't need to play it myself.
And where on the internet did you read that?
The Eurogamer comment section.
A trash heap. I joke.
Yeah, he is joking. Reddit's the trash heap.
Oh yeah, or like 4chan. That's the trash heap.
I've never been on there.
Yeah, don't.
I've actually never been on 4chan.
No. Comments are lovely. That's fine. It's nice to have a debate in the comments.
Speaking of trash on Reddit, posted our interview. Was that last week? Last week was the interview with Colin Ryan, Peter Bramhill. Thank you both for joining. I went and
thank everyone who listened.
Yeah, like over 1,000 views on YouTube. We had a lot. I haven't checked actually what it was on downloads on like Spotify and stuff, but I imagine more than usual. So thank you very, very, very much. I posted it on the Final Fantasy 14 subreddit because they just post crap. It's like really bad. And I was like, I just posted it on there. And I was like, feel free to delete if it counts as self-promotion. It didn't. And I had like some nice comments of saying like, oh, thanks for posting this. Really enjoyed it. Really, really nice. But the first comment I got was somebody going, LGBT Mafia. Or it was like Alphabet Mafia. Pass.
Oh, fuck off.
I was like, imagine something that you might find interesting. And also, I mean, you might find interesting, but you're refusing to because there's a LGBT flag. But also, Final Fantasy 14 is one of the queerest games. Like I know. If somebody said, "Oh, I'm queer,"
queerest communities.
Queerest communities, yeah, the game maybe not so much, although you can be. But if somebody said like, "Oh, I'm queer, I'm LGBTQ, whatever," I want to play a game with a community that's very supportive. That would be the number one, I say. Can you think of any others? They'll be more supportive in a community, not like Animal Crossing, but like a multiplayer game.
I mean, you're testing my knowledge now.
Asking you about multiplayer games is like asking me about Souls games.
Exactly. I didn't play multiplayer games, so I don't bloody know.
Yeah.
All I'd say is get some fucking colour in your life. That's what I'd say.
Exactly. You twat. Anyway.
Yeah.
By the way, you might have noticed we're going for the news first. We're going to test that out and just see, because sometimes the news is the most important, and then we'll talk about what we've been playing and what you've been playing.
Well, yeah,
after.
and also we're a little bit behind on the news because of last week's podcast, which was a special. So we're a little bit behind, but
some things have happened.
Yes. Well, yeah. So please go read the full interview with Kitase. There is also a little preview piece because I got to play Rebirth as well.
What did you think to it?
Awful. Terrible game. Why would anyone want to play that?
What did you play in the preview?
So we played.
Because there's a demo out right now.
There is a demo out right now that you can go and play. Shall I say what's in the demo?
Is it? I haven't played the demo yet.
Okay.
So don't.
Okay.
Can you be as generic as possible?
Well, then I won't say what I played at the preview. What I played at the preview was the demo, plus the next bit of the game, which was a big open world area. So we got to see some story, we got to see some open world bits, and I didn't want to just follow the story because I thought that's boring.
That's what
everyone's
going to
do that. So I just went and played cards.
So what's his card game then?
I had a great time playing cards.
Is it like Triple Triad?
Kind of.
Oh.
So, Triple Triad, Final Fantasy VIII, and then later 14. That was the first card game. So the original 7 didn't have one. Then 9 had Tetra Master, which was a sort of spin on Triple Triad. And that, I think, was in 11. But the original 7 didn't have a card game. And I feel like what they've done with Rebirth is they've got this big open world and they've thought, what can we do to fill it? Let's shove in a load of mini games. Now, the original 7 is known for its mini games because of the Gold Saucer. And as you know already, there's the motorbike racing bit.
Yep.
There's Chocobo racing. There's like loads of stuff in the original. So they're really expanding that in Rebirth to give you just so much stuff to do in this big open world. And one of them is a card game, which they are calling Queen's Blood, which I keep calling Queen's Gambit, and that's chess.
Yeah, that's chess. That's not a card game.
Which is very different.
You can't even play. Can you play chess?
As in me personally or in Rebirth?
You.
Me. Do you think I was in chess club as a kid?
Yeah.
Of course I was in fucking chess club as a kid.
I think we had it. We didn't have a chess club up north.
Really?
No, I've only ever played one game of chess, and I won. But I still...
That was fluke.
It was against an ex-girlfriend in the library.
Wow. You had a girlfriend alone in the library and you decided to play chess together.
We did play chess together, yeah.
Behind the stacks?
No, in front of the librarian, who was this terrifying woman who was married to the local vicar.
Oh, I was about to say she probably knew you were gay, but not. She's probably like...
To be honest, well...
There's a gay in my library. He's pretending he's with a woman.
I mean, when she was married to the vicar, I'm sure the vicar was a little bit poofy.
Wow. Anyway, so Queen's Blood. It's a little bit like Gwent.
Ooh, you got me.
I thought that might get you. So I will attempt to explain how it works, but it's a lot easier if you've got the visuals in front of you. Essentially, you have your deck of cards, and the board... Are you going to close your eyes and imagine?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got your deck of cards,
imagine
right?
I've got my Apple Vision Pro, whatever it is.
Sure. And your cards get shuffled to you in in a hand. I think it's like 5.
The 4 suites?
No.
Suits?
Suits. I'll explain the cards in a minute.
I don't play cards either.
The idea is that there's a board with like 3 lanes, and you're on the left and your opponent's on the right.
Right.
And you have to place your cards.
It's like Marvel Snap.
No. You have to place your cards and have the most power in each of the lanes.
Marvel Snap.
So, okay, sure, fine. It's like Marvel Snap. So each of your cards has a power level, which is the amount of power it adds to the lane. So like 1, 2, 4, whatever. And they also have a little pawn number or number of pawns in the top left. And I say pawn like chess, as we were saying.
Oh, like prawns.
PAWN.
Not PORN.
Right? No.
How many pawns?
So it has
like
a power
pawns,
level.
please.
It's got a pawn number of pawns, and then there is a shape that it's a bit like a Tetris shape.
Yeah.
Okay. And so basically, you start off with on the grid of the board there are pawns, and you start off with 1 pawn, which means that you can lay a card of 1 pawn on that square.
Yeah.
Right. And then the shape of that card, the little Tetris shape, corresponds to where more pawns will be added. So that allows you to basically move across the board by spreading your pawns.
We'll
based
say
on
that
the shapes.
We'll play it and we'll understand it when we play it.
You will, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then there are abilities as well for your cards. And so you have to advance across before your opponent does by adding power with the cards.
Literally none of the last minute or 2 has gone in. I'll play it eventually. We'll all play
I tried, everyone. I tried.
It's like me trying to explain about Chants of Sennaar, but yeah. It's your turn to explain that.
Well, I'll try that later. So anyway, the card game, it's fun. You run around and you collect more cards from the people that you beat.
Oh, can you, is it a bit like The Witcher where you can kind of challenge anybody to a game?
It's not anyone, it's only certain people, but you will meet them along the journey.
Yeah. Have you been doing it every?
Well, everywhere I go, I'm like, I will find you. Because in the demo for the preview, I think there are only 3 that you could battle, and then I was running around being like, where are there more card people? I need to play more cards. And you go up in rank, which is all blood ranks. So I became like blood peasant.
That's you. You're a blood peasant.
Yeah, and I'm gonna become a vampire eventually.
Oh, is that the?
Well, I don't know if it is. I'm just making a joke about
blood sucking.
So basically, I wrote a preview all about cards, which if you go to Eurogamer, it might make more sense if you read that.
Are there images of it?
There is an image. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
There you go.
I'm a visual learner.
Anyway, so I wrote about cards and had a lovely time. But it's a very pretty game, and there's lots to do in it. But it's also out very soon. It's about at the end of the month, so you've only got a couple of weeks before reviews will be out.
And the demo's out there. So
out there. So if you want to go and play that, you can do that. So yeah, there's a lot of 7 Rebirth stuff at the moment. If you're interested.
Well, let's move on to something that 7 Rebirth will not be released on Xbox.
Oh, you want to do that news next?
Or is that the news? Oh, we're going to go PlayStation. Well, I mean, this was it's had its own like state of play, this one. So maybe we should do the PlayStation state of play first.
Maybe we should. Oh no, I'm going the wrong way in my phone notes.
The biggest
news.
That
was the demo was announced earlier this week at the PlayStation State of Play that was dedicated to 7, which I will say, if you haven't yet watched it, but you know you want to play Rebirth, don't watch it. Because I feel like they spoiled a lot of stuff in that State of Play. It was like 20-25 minutes long. And there were clips, like knowing the original and knowing where Rebirth goes up to, there are clips from literally pretty much the end of that. Or like very close to the end. From the beginning as well. Like there's stuff from all over this game that I feel like they're spoiling, not just story bits, but kind of funny little extra bits that I'm like, I don't need to see that. Like I know I want to buy it, so I don't need to watch that.
Yeah.
So basically I would say don't watch the State of Play, but trust me that the game looks amazing and it was a good showing. So if you weren't interested in it, go watch it. Maybe you'll enjoy it. However, there was another State of Play last week. So we can talk about that.
Which had a much more exciting game.
Well, that's debatable. Do you mean Stellar Blade?
No, I do quite like Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade?
No, Stella, don't you? No, it was the mind-blowing Death Stranding 2.
Right, come on then, Ben. Tell us about it.
I am so excited for Death Stranding 2. But I can wait. It's like now I've seen that Death Stranding 2 trailer, I'm okay with not seeing any more until the game comes out. Now I want a date. Give me a date so I know when I'm going to go and play this game, because until
2025.
Yeah,
that's your date.
Which is a bit disappointing, but I mean, it's expected. But they seem to have taken on board everything that maybe wasn't there in Death Stranding 1, and they've added it in Death Stranding 2. So, for example, a day-night cycle. There was actually nights, in which I'm intrigued to see if it's night in certain areas, because one thing, there are just so many things that they've improved on, and and because they're doing various different things, they're able to build on it. For example, in Death Stranding 1, it's very much set in the US, even though it looks just like Iceland. But where you are looks very similar. Like one area on one far side of the map looks exactly the same kind of as the area in the other side of the map. They also have mountains and stuff, but there's not a huge amount of variety in the terrain. Whereas in Death Stranding 2's trailer, looks incredible, and it seems that you maybe go to different places in the world on your ship, and then maybe you go into these. So you could be in the volcanic parts of Iceland, or you might be in a desert, or you might be.
Well, that's what I thought, because it looks like there's a flying ship, which makes me think that you're then flying around the world. And so you're therefore not just connecting like one country, but you're connecting multiple countries together to create this bigger network.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when they're on the ship, they're on like the other side. Is it on the beach?
On the beach.
Yeah, they're beached or whatever, because they were grey. No. So on the grey, they looked all grey. So I wonder if that's how they can like travel really quickly as they go to the other side or something. I don't know. But if that's the case, it might not be the case. But even things like, so in Death Stranding, when you're going over certain areas, there'll be maybe a little rock slide, but it was about 4 boulders that will just bounce down and look, and like the feeling will be as though they weigh nothing. but it kind of triggers every time you go past a certain place. Because there was one bit on one of my zip lines, and every single time I took the zip line, a few boulders fell down, which was cool, but it's obviously scripted. Whereas on this one, it looked like there was a huge avalanche and like proper, like the earth was collapsing. And I don't know, it just seems that they've gone every criticism or every improvement or suggested improvement that Death Stranding 1 had, they seem to have taken it on board. Whether they've taken it on board with having less kind of 4-hour cuts or fewer 4-hour cutscenes.
I mean, it's a Kojima game,
So maybe not.
So, I mean, there's definitely going to be 4-hour cutscenes.
There is, and I don't have a problem with that. But I'm just really intrigued. One thing I really loved was how into it so many people are that had no real interest in Death Stranding 1. Or people that fell off the first one are like, oh, I'm going to go play the first one because the second one looks incredible. And I'm really glad that you're in that camp as well. I feel like us Death Stranding mega fans.
Us.
I got the platinum.
Sounds like a cult.
It is. But like when people go, oh, I'm going to play some Death Stranding, and then when people like Death Stranding, we're all like, oh, great, somebody that likes it. Because we also understand, I'm speaking on behalf of all Death Stranding fans.
Of course you are.
We understand that people don't like it, and it's not for everybody. 100% isn't for everybody. So when this Death Stranding 2 trailer has come out, and lots of people have gone, oh, this looks really good. Like, it looks way better than anticipated, or it looks way better than what they thought a Death Stranding 2 could be. It pleases us.
It pleases us.
Yes.
Wow, says the cult leader.
No.
For the record, I don't hate Death Stranding.
I gave it a 3 out of 5.
I just don't love it either. I am totally here for some Kojima weirdness. Like, I love the Metal Gear Solid games. I'm more than happy to have like Kojima weirdness. That's what he's known for. Push the boundaries, push the fourth wall, do something weird. I am totally here for that. My problem with Death Stranding is that I feel like he went independent and then there was no one to kind of keep him in check. So he just kind of went all out and did something that was just so out there that I just don't think there was too much weirdness that to me it just didn't make sense in terms of storytelling.
Oh, it made perfect sense.
Which I know that you will disagree with.
Yeah.
There were bits of that I just didn't really like. But there was also stuff that I did like. Like graphically, it's beautiful. Visually, I really enjoy the style. The music's incredible. I can appreciate the sort of chilled tone of walking, even though I found it laborious from a gameplay perspective. I didn't like combat either.
The thing is that with the people that you go and visit, nearly all of them are identical, and like you don't see they're not physically in the game because it's just like these holograms and stuff. So that was for me. It was like, yeah, he'd gone mental. He created this massive game, and it's absolutely wild. But it also felt as though a lot of the assets were reused, and there was like copy pasted textures, and a lot of the places when you go and speak to people, it's pretty much identical to everywhere else. So yeah, he went absolutely wild, but I think he did have a budget. I think Sony were like, yeah, this is weird. This is the budget. I'd be interested to see how much it cost, and I don't think it was as much as some people imagine.
I mean, I think it was expensive, but 90% of that went on celebrity faces.
Conan O'Brien does not do things cheaply, I'm sure.
Exactly. So I think it was more on that than anything else. I think it was probably a very expensive game, but it depends on where the money was spent. Like you say, Death Stranding 2, it looks like they hopefully are taking on some of the criticisms. It looks more expansive. It looks like a richer world, which I really like. I will still hold out sort of reservations on the actual gameplay until we've seen more of it. There were little snippets of it, but it was mostly sort of cutscenes basically from the trailer. So until we've seen a bit more of what we're actually doing, and is that just more deliveries or is it something else? It seemed to hint that it wouldn't be. I hope that combat is improved in some ways as well. But once I see more of that, I'll have a better idea of it. But the moment that What's His Face whipped out that guitar gun and it all went metal, I was in. Higgs, that's the one. I was in. I was in. Like, I mean, I'm a sucker for a music reference. So the fact that he's clearly this kind of Kiss / The Crow / metal guy, and then he whips out a lightning guitar gun and starts screaming, wailing guitars and killing people. I was like, that's the weirdness I want. So I'm actually really excited about it now.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sure you can join the hype train.
Maybe.
I just cannot wait to play that. I will take a week off work to stream it from the day it comes out.
Of course you will.
Was
there anything else at the State of Play?
I mean, but things like I was just going to say, you were saying that maybe it doesn't include deliveries. The original was about building connections, so maybe in this one you're still building connections, but in the past you built those connections by delivering and making people happy to join the ICA or UCA. So I wonder if
call yourself a fan, you don't even know the acronyms.
My memory makes me not a fan of anything. It makes me have no knowledge. There was a question of the day in the Discord that was like, what would be your mastermind subject? I'm like, nothing. I do not know a lot about anything. What other things? Remind me, what was there?
Okay, well, we mentioned Stellar Blade before.
That looked quite good in a near way.
I have mixed feelings about Stellar Blade.
Be good, please.
I have a feeling it's actually going to be pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much inspired by Nier Automata and Bayonetta. So it's got that character action game
with a big butt
combat kind of vibe, and a sort of post-apocalyptic world. It looks like it could be really interesting, and I think if combat is good, then it will absolutely be worth playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think what puts me off, I don't think the trailer was very good. And B, I sort of feel like there's this annoying sexiness to it. And don't get me wrong, I'm totally here for a sexy character. Like, absolutely, we want that representation. But
we want sexy people representation because they're underrated in video games.
Underrepresented.
Yeah.
I feel like it's sort of going back to near Bayonetta. They've both got like 2B and Bayonetta are kind of sexy characters. But they're really pushing like, oh, our character is based on this like Korean model and look how hot she is. And then, oh, we've got this character with like really revealing outfits and whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool, like sex sells, but like just give me some good combat. Like that's more
guy.
That's more just make it a man. No, like just give me good combat and a good story. I'm more interested in that than like how big are her tits, like, to be frank. So I really hope that sense of style doesn't undermine an actually good combat system. So we'll see. I think when it comes out, I think for me it's like 8 out of 10 potential.
Okay, solid.
I reckon.
I'm very intrigued to see what it reviews like. I think that's gonna be a game where I will 100% read the reviews first.
Sonic X Shadow Generations
next
is gonna be great.
I like Shadow, but no. Next.
Wow. So Dave the Diver.
Yeah, I was expecting them to give us some more information about the Dredge DLC, but no, they've brought in Godzilla now.
Yeah, which is free.
I
for
like
everyone,
Dave the Diver. I spent like nearly 30 hours playing it. I'm not dying for more Dave the Diver, honestly. So it's like this DLC's coming out. I'd prefer DLC for Dredge. Because it's a bit more chilled. But I will play it, I'm sure. I don't particularly need it.
There we go.
There's already so much in Dave the Diver.
Well, if you haven't played it, it's coming to PlayStation now. So there we go. They also showed a little bit of Foam Stars, which then came out this week on PS Plus.
Yeah.
I had a go at it. It's really good. Like, I think people are dismissing it as like, oh, it's the Splatoon clone, whatever. Firstly, banging soundtrack.
Are there any reviews?
Absolutely banging soundtrack. So I don't think so, because I don't think they gave out code. But I think that was maybe a server thing. I don't know. The whole style of it is like sort of J-pop idols.
Yeah.
And you're in Bath, Vegas.
Well,
hence everything is soapy and bath related, and there's like a rubber duck DJ and whatever. But it's kind of just got this like J-pop idol kind of vibe. Amazing soundtrack, like banging soundtrack.
And we know a couple of people that voice it.
Not the soundtrack, but the characters.
Oh, sorry, the characters are, yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of Splatoon. You in that you shoot foam out of guns and then you surf on it. But it's actually really quite fun. I just jumped in and was like, I was the star player on my first ever match, and it wasn't bots.
I was like that on
Just
Overwatch.
saying.
I was like that on Overwatch.
Just
remember?
saying.
I was like that on Overwatch too.
Sure.
You were sat next to me.
A couple of other bits. They showed Silent Hill 2 remake, which has not gone down very well with fans.
No, in fact, one of our friends, Helunky, popped into the chat just afterwards. He's been off Twitch for a while, and he came in and he was like, "What was that?" And he loves Silent Hill. Like,
people have. I think the problem is that the actual title of the trailer they showed was combat trailer, And Silent Hill is not a game known for its combat.
No.
So it's kind of like, why are you showing that? So people are worried, I think, that it's a bit too actiony, Resident Evil-y, when actually Silent Hill is more atmospheric and more psychological than that. And I think they should have lent on that in the trailer. So I don't think it's not the best look for that.
No, it just looked a bit washed out as well. It didn't look. It looked like a half-assed remaster.
Which is a shame.
Yeah,
it's a shame. There was Judas.
Yeah,
that was a Gaga song.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Sure.
What was
Judas, which is the new Ken Levine game that looks like BioShock in space.
Yeah, I quite like the look of that. I'll play it.
I'm not super fast, if I'm honest.
Well,
Like, I love BioShock, but I don't need more of it. Like, make something new. There was some VR stuff. No one cares. Dragon's Dogma 2, which we've heard a lot about already.
and
So
now I'm
whatever.
like,
but
maybe
I really want to play that.
Yeah, but
Really
it's
wanna
not.
play
Is it related to Dragon's Dogma 1? Is it a sequel?
I mean, it's literally got 2 in the title.
Well,
Ben.
Final Fantasy 16 isn't a continuation of 15, is it?
I was like, is it the same story? Is it different characters?
I actually don't know much about the story.
Oh, you don't know? So, oh, wow, mocking me, and you don't know yourself.
I'm pretty sure it's the same world and a similar sort of idea. I think it's almost a sort of semi reboot type thing. I think.
I feel like if it's
Like,
if a game's been out
you don't
such a
have
long
to have
time,
played 2 to play 1.
well, that'd
like,
be a
it
bit weird.
stands
Do you mean
alone.
you don't have to play 1 to play 2?
Yes, that's why I meant.
Good, because I don't want to play it the other way
Look,
around.
I can't count.
Nah. 1 and
Rise
2.
of the Ronin is the next Ninja Theory game,
Rise of Ronin.
which
Keaton.
life is a roller coaster, you just gotta ride it. No,
I
all night
apologise.
long. I'm not super keen on this, if I'm honest. It just looks like sort of Sekiro meets Assassin's Creed.
So many games out there, you got to be more selective.
Yeah. Until Dawn,
No, I've already played it very recently, and
Yeah.
it's fine.
and then Death Stranding.
The
On
best.
the beach. And also, at the end of that, they said Kojima is working on a new espionage game.
An espionage game that's going to transcend theatre and game.
It's also a film.
Yeah.
It's a film and a game, some sort of cross thing. It does have a code name, which I can't remember what it is.
Gettle Mia.
No, sadly not. I mean, I really enjoyed. I saw on Twitter someone put Metal Gear Solid brackets Hideo's version, which I really enjoyed. The thing is that they've said they're not going to start work in earnest until after Death Stranding, and that's not out till next year. And considering this game's going to take like 4 years at least to make, because it's going to be huge. It's a PlayStation exclusive. They've literally said, please make us Metal Gear Solid, but don't call it Metal Gear Solid, because they know how popular it is. That the next rumor is this a PS6 game?
Yeah.
Because it's so far away.
It'd be interesting to see. It's also, yeah, like hearing that reminded me of the guy that's creating the Division 3. And he's working on that after Jedi Outlaws, or whatever it's called. Star Wars Outlaws comes out. So, but he won't start on it until that game's out. So I'm like, okay, we still got to... They're announcing things so far off. I don't need to know.
Well, this is the thing. I feel like nowadays a lot of games are announced way ahead of when they need to be, and I do appreciate that sometimes that's basically advertising for please come and work for us because we're hiring.
Plus, if you're a decent studio, you should be able to hire anyway. In fact, everyone's getting laid off, so there's lots of people looking for work.
Hence, they need the jobs. And I'm sure people would love to work for Kojima, or maybe they wouldn't actually. I don't know. But at the same time, games are taking so long to make because they're just so in depth that I feel like we're getting fewer and fewer sort of big first party AAA games because they just take so long to make. So it's all very well him announcing this, but it's years away until we're actually going to get Metal Gear Solid Hideo's version.
Yes. All right.
So
Anything else
there
in
we
the
go.
news?
Well, that was the state of play. There is more news.
Well, we'll have to be quick. We're already 45 minutes in.
Are we?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I heard Xbox is closing down.
Well, are they?
They're making more of an announcement next week. But what were the
so
rumors?
next week, Phil Spencer will share Xbox's vision for the future. So essentially, a load of leaks came out about Xbox exclusive games coming to other consoles, i.e., Starfield, which is already out on Xbox anyway. But then the more interesting one is Indiana Jones, which isn't out yet. It was at the Xbox Developer Direct, so it's coming to Xbox later this year. But now they're saying, well, actually, it might come to other consoles, i.e., PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the fanboys have really kicked off about it. And I think what's tricky is that because it's leaked, this isn't a statement from Xbox about this is what we're doing. It's kind of little drips and drabs of information that now all the fanboys have gone, oh my god, we don't want this. We don't want exclusive Microsoft games on PlayStation. And so now it's forced Microsoft's hand. I think they probably were going to announce something soon, but they're now having to do it even sooner next week, where we will find out more.
Yeah.
I don't think this is like the death of Microsoft in the way that people were comparing it to the Dreamcast and how Sega left the hardware business because of the Dreamcast. This isn't that. I don't necessarily see Xbox leaving console hardware stuff, but I do think that they are really focusing on software and they are focusing on Game Pass because they just want the model of Game Pass is the subscription model where they make money on the more people that subscribe. So they just want Game Pass to be available everywhere and they want their games to be available everywhere. And it doesn't matter to them if that's a rival console. They just want to be able to share as many games as possible.
If they can make a console that's as powerful as whatever the next PlayStation is going to be, and they can keep it either a profit or break even, then why not just keep that out? Because if they say, hey, you can buy our console and you can play a game day one, and it's going to be part of Game Pass, or you can wait 6 months to a year and play it on PS5 and you have to pay full price, then they win both ways.
That's the thing. And I guess people are wondering, well, what's the point in an Xbox? Well, the point of an Xbox is that you're probably getting early access for it, or you're getting it as part of Game Pass if you're paying for that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to spend 80 quid on individual games.
Yeah, I mean, if that happens next generation, I'll get an Xbox as well, because there'll be games I want to play and I don't want to wait 6 months for it and then pay £65 for it. So
yeah, like, I don't know. I sort of don't care about this whole thing. It's really blown up and blown out of proportion, I think. And I sort of don't care because
I think it's a good thing that more
if
people
games
can
are
play
available, then
if more people can play a game, then great. Then we'll have the whole debate about cross servers again, I'm sure.
Oh God.
What's happened with all of that? Because that was like a big thing, and then has it been implemented with games that are...
I'm pretty sure you can play most things everywhere.
Like,
as in like cross-play against like multiplayer with other people.
Yeah. The big games
everywhere.
Got it.
The blocker on that was PlayStation, not Xbox.
Yeah. No, but I mean, is that just the big games like Call of Duty? You can play cross-platform, but can you? What if you can do it with smaller ones?
You think I play Call of Duty? I don't know.
I've played Call of Duty.
Listeners,
before.
let us know.
Cool. Well, that's interesting, and we'll get more information next week.
We will have more information on that next week, yes.
Nice. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, no.
No, good. Well, let's go and talk about the games that we've been playing. And what game have you... Because you've been playing a game that I've already finished, and I think I do better than you.
So I've played a couple of things in the last week. I haven't actually played a huge amount. Now, I've been told by a friend that apparently we talk about Final Fantasy far too much.
Oh, who said that?
I won't name names. So I have played it. We've already talked about Final Fantasy enough, but I have played some more 14.
Good.
Because I wanted to get a bit more up to date. I've now finished the Shadowbringers post patches, so I'm ready to do the pre-patch of Endwalker, which will be after Rebirth. So. After that, I will tell you all about my thoughts on Endwalker.
Got a while to wait then.
So you've got a little while to wait. But yes, I am progressing. This is a progress report. I'm getting on with it.
What games?
That is my promise for the year.
You've been stealing my Steam Deck. What have you been playing on there?
I did, and I started Chants of Sennaar, which I started on Monday night after stream.
So you were
when
tired.
I was very tired, and I was already tired, and then started it late. And thought, I want to play something sort of calming and relaxing. And so I chose Chants of Sennaar, which is infuriating.
I know, if you're not very kind of linguistically minded.
Oh, shut up.
It can be.
I hate that you're like, I was an English teacher, therefore I'm better than you.
No, I'm not better than you, but genuinely it did help me.
Well,
Because I know the structure of like different languages. I'm going to sneeze.
well, I just bless you. I just brute forced my way through it, which also worked. So you have already played this. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and you explained it. I will briefly explain it again, just so that people are aware. Chants of Sennaar is a puzzle game about language, and you play as this hooded character, and you have to go through different levels of a tower. And on each level, the people that you meet speak different languages, but you don't know that language. And so you have to solve puzzles to decipher that language. And that
you
might be
explained it a lot
something...
better than I did. Well
there
done.
you go. I'm trying. So as an example, the very first puzzle, so this isn't a spoiler, the very first puzzle is a lever that opens a door. And there are 2 runes next to sort of the top and the bottom of the lever, which essentially mean open door and closed door, because you can sort of insinuate from how you pull the lever.
And the fact that one of the symbols is repeated, so you know that it's
that
door.
means door.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what's the difference? Well, one's open, one's closed. So your character then scribbles these sort of drawings in their journal, and you collect the rune symbols, and you'll know if later they are runes or something else. We'll find out later. You can then connect those runes to the journal to create essentially a dictionary, I guess, of what that language is. And that means then when you speak to people, it deciphers the language. What you can also do is write in guesses of what you think things are. So you can see a rune and then add in what you think the word is, and that will then appear in conversations to help you try and work things out. So you basically explore these areas, and it's really sort of colorful, minimalist graphics, which I really love, because you can tell that, like, I'm only on the 2nd level of the tower, but you can tell that each one has its own color scheme that of adds to the vibe. So the first one is all kind of oranges and yellows, and it's sunny, sort of almost desert-like, I think. And then the 2nd level has a lot more stealth in it, which I'm less interested in.
Don't worry, that's it.
And you are deciphering the languages of the warriors, so it feels a bit more aggressive. So it's kind of harsher, sort of teal and red colors, and it sort of has that more harsh, aggressive vibe with the color scheme, which I really like. So this game on paper is absolutely my kind of thing. Like, I love this kind of puzzle game. I think I was very tired, and it's a game where you have to think logically, and you have to sort of jump to conclusions by working out bits of conversation and repetition of runes to work out what do they mean. So maybe every time you meet someone, they have the same rune, and it's like, okay, well, does that mean hello then? And you can kind of guess things. You can also brute force things by just shoving in random runes into the journal until it accepts them and says, yep, that was correct, which I've definitely done a bit. I just feel like at the very beginning is a couple of quick puzzles just to give you the idea.
Yeah.
And then it goes, great, off you go. And it opens out to like quite a big area.
Yeah.
And your journal adds loads at once, loads of runes at once. And you're like, well, hang on a minute. What am I doing first? And I just found it a bit overwhelming at the beginning. But once I did that world, now I understand what it's trying to do. The second world has been a lot easier. So I think it's just a case of getting into the rhythm of the game, which I don't think it explains very well. But once you get it, you understand how clever it is.
Yeah, weirdly, I loved the very, very, very beginning, the tutorial with like the moving the lever up and down and then being able to work it out. I was like, oh, this is genius. I love this. I can get it.
Yeah.
It's like Duolingo, the game, the graphic version of Duolingo, this. But then when in that first world, when you go in there, I didn't have any trouble with it. But the reason is, I think I just took it really, really slowly. And every single person I spoke to, I kind of guessed at what they might say. And then went back to people so many times. I really, really took my time with the game. Like, the game was, they say, is like 7 hours or something. And I took about 11 because I was literally going back and double checking all the time. And if you do it really slowly, because when you've spoken to enough people or seen enough of a certain glyph, it will then give you the option, as you said, to make a guess with images what that thing is. And it'll only do that when it thinks you've got enough knowledge. So if you're doing it quite slowly, when that pops up, you're like, okay, so everybody that I've spoken to and everything that I've seen so far, I can work that out.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's, I've been stuck for like 20 minutes before, been like, I have no idea what this word is. I have no idea what these two are. So I go hunting for them. And I'm like, it could be this or it could be that. And now I've seen it in this context. I know it's actually this and I know it's that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
a really clever game.
It gets
and it really
more
gets
frustrating.
It really gets your mind thinking. So it was not a relaxing Monday evening. I'm quite tired. Let's have a go at this kind of game. But it's really clever and I really like it. I think another way of sort of explaining it is it gives you imagine you are a British person who only speaks English.
Yeah.
And you go on holiday to Japan and you see what the Japanese kata.
Well, I'm doing hikugana or something like that.
Kanji.
What kanji is one of them? Yeah.
Kanji's the word. Kanji was the word I was thinking of.
That's one of them.
Okay, so that's one of them. But the kanji sort of symbols that you get in Japanese language, symbols is not the right word, but for the sakes of it, you know what I mean. So you're like a British person and you're in Japan and you don't understand a word of Japanese and all you can see is these symbols.
Yeah.
And you're kind of trying to work out what the language means. It gives you that feeling in the game of like, you know, you're abroad, but you're trying to sort of guess what people are saying.
Is
to
kanji
you.
each symbol is a word or is it just a pronunciation of a sound?
I have absolutely no idea. And I wish I could speak Japanese in order to answer that question for you.
Well, I'm learning it on Duolingo.
I was going to say, you're the Duolingo person.
Yeah.
Here, so you tell me.
Sumimasen. I don't know. I can't remember at the moment, but konnichiwa. I've been doing the is it hikugana or something like that? I don't know, one of the languages for about 4 or 5 days now. So all the phrases and stuff from before, I've totally forgotten all of those.
Of course you have.
But it's all right. It's Duolingo. I don't think I'm learning that much, but it's a game.
Fair enough. I've heard the beeping when you're on the toilet.
Oh yeah, I don't do it next to you because you probably just look and have a back seat.
I wouldn't backseat on Duolingo.
Yes, you would.
No.
You'd have a go. You'd backseat on anything.
Wow.
You'd backseat on a pinball machine.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, I've been playing Chants of Sennaar. I would definitely recommend it, but I will keep playing it in the next few weeks and slowly but surely get through it.
Nice.
What have you been playing, Ben?
I've been playing Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Yeah, I wanted to see what the fuss was about. And with me doing a Let's Play of Spider-Man 2 quite recently, and that went well, I thought, you know what, I'll go and do this as a Let's Play as well. So at the moment of recording this, and when it goes up, this podcast, I'll have only had episode 1 out, but I have actually secretly recorded 4. So I'm a little bit further than what it looks like, but I'm actually enjoying it. It's definitely like a good 3 out of 5. The combat is quite fun. I'm actually enjoying that. So you can pick if anybody that doesn't know about it, it's very much an open world superhero, but it's like a 4-player game. So when you're playing, I'm just playing it single player at the moment, but I do have my 3 other companions, and it's Deadshot, Harley Quinn, King Shark, and Boomerang, Captain Boomerang. See, I know them all.
There you go.
And you get to choose whichever one of those 4 you want to control, and then the other 3 will be your companions.
And which one are you favouring at the moment?
I'm favouring Boomerang.
Nice.
Was that yours as well?
That's who I played. I was in the preview, yeah.
Because at the moment, I've just unlocked fast travel I'm in chapter 4, and I think I'm about halfway. So I've unlocked fast travel, but fast travel only takes you to the base. If you need to get to the other side of the map, you have to go and travel there. And it's a little bit annoying because, your boomerang has got you throw it and then it zaps you there. But it's just a lot of repeated movement, a lot of repeated boomerang throwing to get you from one place to the other. And the other 3 don't necessarily move any faster. So they've all got quite different traversal techniques, but I'm kind of a bit bored of traversing now. And I'm kind of, even though it is an open world game, I've got absolutely zero interest in just wandering around on the ground in that city. Whereas in Spider-Man, walking around with the people, you can give them a high five, but you can just walk around and just listen, and you enjoy the atmosphere there. It feels like for me, I'm treating it as a single player kind of narrative very linear story, but in an open world area. A little bit like Forspoken. In fact, I'm definitely getting Forspoken vibes with that. One thing, however, which Forspoken failed at is the dialogue in Justice League, which is dad joke perfect.
Lovely.
There are so many dad jokes especially from Captain Boomerang. Oh yeah, I was fighting and my clothes came off. Didn't that happen to you?
That did happen to me, and I had no idea why, and I was suddenly in my pants.
Do you know why?
No.
Oh, I don't know why either.
Oh,
I was
okay.
fighting and I just ended up, wait, okay, I've got no...
Yeah.
They didn't explain it.
No.
But I found that the story's been really gripping. Like, I've really enjoyed... Because, like, yeah, you must kill the Justice League. Obviously, that's the title. But I'm like, wait, do I actually have to? Watch my Let's Play to see if that actually does happen or not. And, yeah, no, it's been quite... And I've bumped into so many people that I know. Poison Ivy, the Penguin, you know, like a lot of the old... And a lot of the goodies.
Batman villains.
Yeah, and Lex Luthor. And there's so many villains and also the good people, the good guys, the superheroes are in this, that it's made it just really entertaining. And yeah, Harley Quinn, I think, is one of my favorite with her quips. Like the voice lines from her are brilliant.
I thought that as well. I think as a character, I think Harley Quinn could be like fan favorite because of the delivery and the lines and the jokes and all that stuff. Like she's such an oddball, but I think she's really lovable at the same time. But I hated her traversal mechanic.
I haven't played. I played 1 minute of her, and I played like half an hour to an hour of the others. Plus Boomerang, I'm about 3 hours in or 4 hours. But my favorite quip was, and I don't know, I think this might have been shown in a video or something like that. But it's like there was the Flash. And she goes, the Flash. Or it might have actually been... No, I think it was Boomerang that said this, but it was like, the Flash, the fastest man alive. So say his girlfriends.
Of course you'd find that funny.
Loved it. It's generally a really funny game. And if you're like, I'm not paying 65 quid to play a game that's a 3 out of 5, like when it comes to moving and stuff, watch my Let's Play. Big plug there. Go and watch it, because you can just experience the joys of the story and the dialogue without having to play it yourself.
I think that's something like, because I played it at preview, and that was the thing that struck me, was that I think because it's Rocksteady who made the Arkham games, and this is the same universe.
It looks beautiful, yeah.
It's got that Arkham sort of storytelling and dialogue and characterization, which they're really, really good at. You can tell that it's got a good story, or at least the dialogue is good, and it's sort of gripping, and you want to find out more. I just didn't particularly enjoy the gameplay. Like the shooting was fine, it just didn't blow me away. But I think the sort of live servicey bits of just repeated mission designs and that kind of thing, I was like, I don't think this is for me, but I can tell that the story is something that they're really good at.
Like giving the loot, and then giving, like, there's loot boxes, or there was a loot box thing that I opened at one point and it gave me some random things. And I'm like, I don't care about crafting things. I don't really care about the loot, because I've already got these, like, red, I think. So there's the yellow is the epic one, and then pink's maybe slightly higher. But there's one that's like a red color loot, and I think that's based on villains or characters from the game, or like from
is it like
DC.
Infamous rank or something?
Yeah,
or something
Infamous.
like that. Yeah.
I think it's Infamous, and there you get it from. I don't recognize any of the people, but because it's DC, but it's like minor DC characters, I think. But they've been like the best stuff. So I'm like, well, why would I go and replace that? Why would I care about loot when I've got this really cool weapon that does this? But anyway, I'm playing as Boomerang. My main weapon is a shotgun. But yeah, you said you didn't really particularly like the combat, but I'm actually really liking it. Like you've got your literal boomerang that you can use as a melee attack. But if I hold it down now, it freezes. Like it has this massive freeze radius.
Yep.
I've also got a special thing with, I think if you got it with this L1 and R1, and it will do a lot of damage to loads of people at once. There's also there's like the triangle circle together, which is very similar to the Spider-Man kind of finishing move.
Yeah.
Where you do the slow-mo. Did you do that with Boomerang?
Yeah.
And he pulls it up their arsehole?
Yeah.
Yep. I like it, and I like the combat.
There's a lot of layers to combat. I think it was just... I love the Arkham games, and I think I'm maybe in a similar position to other people who are sort of looking at Suicide Squad thinking, well, that's not the Arkham games that I loved. People really loved the like Batman hand-to-hand combat, And so to suddenly turn it into a shooter, like it's fine and it works fine and it's fun enough, but it's just not necessarily what people were expecting next.
No, it doesn't feel like it's part of that world.
Yeah.
Whereas, even though it looks visually like it, it's closer to something like Spider-Man. Like whereas the Arkham games are closer to Shadow of Mordor, with its that kind of third-person kind of close combat battling that's not super, things flying around everywhere. It's a bit more. I don't know. That felt a bit more weighty and a bit more tactical. Whereas this is just like run around, shoot this, throw this, jump on there, go and dive over here, and yeah, it's a bit goofed up, bit like that. But I'm having a lot of fun, and if anybody gets a chance to play, like if it ever gets added to PlayStation Plus or a Game Pass, I 100% recommend people go and play it because it is a lot of fun.
So last question then before we move on to what other people have been playing. One of the criticisms of it is that people are not that fond of this particular interpretation of the characters, and what you do in the game, which I think is maybe because people are big, or some people are big DC fans and have their sort of idea in their head of who these characters are, and maybe are less keen on this particular interpretation of it. Do you think that because you are less of a DC fan, less of a comic book fan, that you're coming at it from just a more open angle?
Maybe, and I've seen like the complaints about, I mean, the name of the game is Kill the Justice League. Like, why the hell would you kill them? Why are these evil? But I'm not going to spoil anything. But I feel like there are ways that they could very easily correct any issues that people have.
Okay, that was subtle.
I mean, I think I've already seen it written. I've seen it mentioned and stuff, but multiverse. That's all I'm gonna say. So when there's a multiverse, you can do whatever you want, and if you don't like an interpretation, they can. I don't know. I'm not far enough into it, but surely they can just bring someone in that's different.
Well, they'll just make up a villain or a new hero that's like, I can time travel or something. Like, and or if you can do that in any superhero thing.
Yeah, because obviously everyone's seen the trailers. The Justice League are all evil in this game, and I don't know whether
why?
But can we fix them? Are they evil because they're not actually the Justice League? Are they ones from a different universe? Are we as the ones that we've been looking after? Are they been abducted actually? And is this from a different? I don't know. I've not played it that far, and I haven't found out, but. If people are like, oh, I can't believe they would do that to the Justice League, to the Justice League, it's like, well, when it comes to comic books, anything can happen. So who knows? Don't get hung up on it. Just go and play it and see if you like the story. But yeah, it's interesting, and I actually quite like it. I like these characters. They're growing on me, and also Wonder Woman is in it.
Wonder Woman,
and she is badass. And she has absolutely no interest in helping them, even though she's on the good side, which I quite like.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I'm on the good side, but also fuck you for. So it's great. And also, I mean, Lois Lane's in it. There's just so many people. I'm like, I don't know anything about DC, but there's all these people I recognize.
Did you watch the Superman TV series with Terry Hatcher as Lois Lane?
No.
Oh.
Was that Smallville?
No.
Is that Superman?
Smallville is Superman, but that's Superman as a kid.
Okay. Because I remember just seeing the big pecs.
That was like TV. That was like teen show. But before that, back in the 90s, there was the Superman TV show with Terry Hatcher
from
as Lois
Lane. Housewives.
Yeah, as Lois Lane, and I've forgotten the name of the guy who was Superman. But that was amazing. That was like Friday night entertainment.
Buffy.
You didn't watch
I had Buffy on Friday night.
You were too young.
Yeah. Come on, Grandad. Tell us what people have been playing.
Let's see what people have been playing. Now, we made a joke in the Discord this week because people have been writing some very long essay-style reviews.
Yes.
And as much as we love to hear people's opinions, we don't have time to say everything on the podcast. And to quote Trixie and Katya, it's our podcast and not yours.
Wow, Ed. Wow. Just shit on everybody. That's
no. Please do write what you've been playing. We love to read it.
But we're
like
not
a little more than like I played this, it was good, but also like not an extended review. Like, just give us a nice few sentences. Is like a good amount.
Ed, what's the time? What is the word count that you're going to give people?
I'm not giving you a word count. We're not going that far.
Yeah,
but just a nice brief response, and then we can get through lots of people that time.
Something that you could put in a tweet.
Sure, let's go with that. So, the Rob Logan. I recently played through Venba.
Double a tweet, actually.
Which is a charming indie game about a family that immigrates to Canada in the 80s. The gameplay is mostly dialogue choices and cooking food in order to restore lost recipes, but it's incredibly well done, unexpectedly emotional, and takes less than 2 hours to complete. I'm in.
I mean, I feel
I'm in.
Vember and Chants of Sennaar were two games I was like, okay, those were the ones that I wanted to kind of play, and I feel like I picked Chants of Sennaar when I probably should have picked Vember, because that was the more chilled game, whereas I was staying up late, getting angry with
probably.
Chants of Sennaar.
I have to imagine the cooking was portrayed in an authentic way, and by the end, I actually wanted to try out some of the food you make in the game. Fortunately,
go and play it. Go play it, Ed.
All right. Fortunately, does it go in the air fryer? That's the question.
Oh yeah, we haven't said that yet.
Fortunately, they recently announced that due to popular demand, they're working on a cookbook DLC, which will feature 12 different recipes. Nice.
You've got an air fryer.
Yeah, I got an air fryer. If anyone's got good ideas of what to cook, then
And how to make crispy sweet potato fries.
My sweet potato fries were not crispy, and I was very disappointed.
They were as soggy as your very sweet potato.
I don't know what you're insinuating here, but if someone's dick looks like a sweet potato, I'd be very concerned.
Yeah, and upset.
Wow.
Disappointed.
Anyway, Debs says, this past weekend, I played through some older games on Game Pass. One of them was Limbo. Do not play if you fear spiders. Agreed. I honestly have no idea what the game is about yet because I'm still playing through it, but it's a game mostly played in the dark. Everything is just shadows. The gameplay at time makes me think a lot of Little Nightmares, and I have just been loving the vibe. I've had to look up how to pass certain areas as the brain power was sometimes just not there to figure the puzzles out. It's also just basically a side-scrolling game of sorts with a jump button. It's very good. They then made Inside, and then they made Cocoon. So, yeah, play all three. All three are great games.
I fell off Limbo. I think there were like 10 levels, and I got to 8.
It's like an hour long.
Yeah, and I got to 8, and I was like, I just can't be arsed anymore. If a game's I'm not enjoying it, I'll move on.
That's fair. I also finally started Gris. This game, as it has been said before by so many people, is just beautiful in caps, and the music adds to much to the game. I'm currently in the upside down area and still need to work my way through it. That area was just a little too much for my brain to handle, but I do plan on finishing it this week.
Generally, like, that gave me, well, I've said this before, I had a headache playing that game upside down. Like, it was totally fine, and, the colors were great, and it was beautiful, and then all of a sudden you had to control the character upside down, and my brain just was like, terminal error.
You just have to turn your head, Ben, and look at it.
I think I did at one point because I was like, I genuinely can't. I got a headache from it. But I think Deb's commented that she'd finished it and loved it in the end.
Oh, nice. Lastly, I restarted Hellblade, another awesome game which I am also surprised bad at. I don't let this stop me from enjoying the game though. Mostly playing this since Hellblade 2 was announced, and hopefully I'll be done with it by the time the second one releases in May. Hellblade is brilliant. Brilliant game.
It's depression.
Harleen has also been playing Suicide Squad, and I do have opinions, mostly mixed. In summary, the game is not the best of the best, but it's a fun shooter-looter game that I can see myself playing with the live updates to chill.
See, I've got no interest in doing any of the post-game stuff once that game's finished. Unless they release, if I enjoy the story right until the end, and then they release some maybe like story DLC for free, I'll play that. But like the live service stuff is not interesting me in the slightest.
Yeah, same. There was a lot here, but I'll paraphrase a bit. If you love the theme of Suicide Squad, the story is really fun and immersive, and the environment changes as the story does, which was cool. The hate the game is receiving is for sure not deserved, and funny enough, most people hating on it haven't actually played it.
Yeah, like the reviews are coming out, and it's 60 on Open or 59 on OpenCritic, which isn't very good, but I feel like I think GameSpot and IGN or something gave it 5 out of 10. And I think it's been generally like I don't know, I say 6 or 7 from the few hours that I've played so far. It just seems it's fine.
Yeah. One of the issues I have is there are so many voice lines going on at the same time. There's no filter. It's great to hear the characters banter, but the moment you step into a quest area, the quest giver starts telling you what to do, which is great, but the banter of the characters does not stop. Have you found that as well?
Yeah. Although I kind of stop. I speak to them before. they stop. Before they. Wait, no. I wait until they finish rambling before talking to one of the NPCs.
Yeah. There are some tweaks we have a fix, but overall, if you want a fun looter shooter game with supervillain motives, go for it. It's fun and not that deep.
And like a lot of the quotes and stuff that they come out with are like supervillain, but it's also kind of the things that you're thinking as well. Like a kid kind of turns up with a toy and they're like, "Who's this fucking weirdo?"
Yeah. Clues has been playing Enshrouded, which is the non-Pal World
the game
survival game. I'm busy making a Hobbit town. The game has a medieval fantasy setting where the world has succumbed to an infestation of mushrooms called the Shroud. Oh no, now I don't want to play it.
Spiders and mushrooms.
And you're one of the few survivors. Combat is relatively simple and easy, so players who want to just focus on building can do just that. What stands out to me in this game is the ability to excavate the terrain and build directly into it, much like Minecraft. It's fun for now, and if you have a project in it, but I do admit it's lacking in biome diversity and depth, but a thoroughly enjoyable game. And Pete Random, I saw Red Dead Redemption 2 was on sale, so I paused Game Pass for February and paid for that instead. I was on a massive gaming hiatus when this first came around, so missed this. I'm in awe of its scale, its beauty, and so far, its story. I can't really believe this was released 5 years ago. I am, however, a bit too overwhelmed by the amount of information it's chucking at me, never to repeat again, assuming I'll remember all the ins and outs on my own. Excited to continue, though.
I feel that's what's happened a bit with Suicide Squad. It's just because at the beginning it gives you the 4 characters and it's like you control each of them to get from one place to another, and then you go and find the other person. Then the other person you control, and then the other person, and you just get given all of these instructions. You have to press this button to jump up here, and then you press this button to slam down, and it's like you're just getting all the information right at the start, and it's like, well, I'm not going to remember any of this. Why are you giving me all like this? What did you think of the beginning of Suicide Squad? Because I'm guessing you played that. Where you play the 4 different characters.
So it gives you a chance to play as all 4 characters and sort of test out their moveset.
Yeah.
And then for the preview purpose, because we played in groups, 4 of us online, and we all chose a different character. So we sort of jumped in with, okay, well, which one do we prefer from that very brief look? And that's why I went with Boomerang, because for me, Deadshot has just like a hover ability, which just seemed a bit.
I quite like Deadshot.
basic.
I played with him for a little bit at the start,
but it just seemed like, I've played that kind of character in other games.
Yeah.
King Shark just sort of jumps around a lot, and I found I just got a bit confused about the types of jumps.
Yeah, he's got a forwards jump and then a high jump.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, it just didn't quite click with me in the 2 minutes I had with it. Harley Quinn, I hated.
I didn't hate it, but it was like, you either hang from the random thing in the air, but also from the drone, but also you can kind of grapple into the corner of buildings, but
so
it just didn't feel.
You can swing, but then you can grapple upwards to corners, but you can also grapple upwards, I think, to the drone.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you swing on the drone and then you swing and then you grapple off it to keep going, and you can build up a rhythm. And I just could not get my head around that at all. And then there's Boomerang, where you just hold a button and then let go, and he goes shooting forwards. And I also knew the least about Boomerang.
Yeah.
Because I think Deadshot was in the Arkham games. Harley, obviously everyone knows. In King Shark, I'm like, it's a giant shark. Whereas Boomerang, I thought he seems a bit more interesting. I don't know about him. So I went with that character. So it just seemed, it was a nice mix of new and intuitive for me.
Yeah. And it's weird because you do levels or you do missions. Sorry, we'll go back to Suicide Squad. You do missions and it'll tell you which one's kind of supercharged. Did you see that?
No.
So it'll say, hey, Harley Quinn for this next mission is supercharged, and you get more XP, and you'll get, I think you do you get less damage dealt to you, and then you'll do more damage. But I'm playing on easy. But
so that encourages you to
it encourages you to mix up, but then you're underleveled because you don't level all of them at the same time, which is a bit annoying. So if you do a mission playing as Boomerang, your other 3 characters stay at level 1. And now my Boomerang is level 10. Harley Quinn is level 1. I think the Shark is 3, and I think Deadshot's 3 as well. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit around and level up the other ones.
Well, that's when you do the side content as the other characters with the boost to get them up quicker.
I just didn't. I'm like, I'm just going to stick with Boomerang and
Boomer.
With Boom. Yeah, they call him Boomer all the time. And I wonder if, I wonder if that's the post game thing. Go and level up all the other characters.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'll be adding more characters in later expansions as well.
They add characters.
So,
Do you know of any?
The Joker. I believe.
Interesting, because the Joker he has some things that you collect. Oh, is the Riddler?
The Riddler. You're thinking of the Riddler.
Think of the
trophies.
Riddler. Why is the Riddler and a Joker? It's the same thing.
No, they're not.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they revealed the Joker is one of the
Damn.
DLC characters. But the thing with Suicide Squad, from what I understand of the comics, is that there are tons of different characters who are part of the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
So they just chose these particular 4, which I think are the same as what's in the film, basically, the most recent film. But they chose these specific 4 because of whatever reason. But there are loads of other DC villains that are part of the squad from throughout the comics, is what I understand. I might be wrong there.
Well, I'm intrigued to see what they do. If they're adding more story, then I might give it a go, as long as it's not too much. But yeah, I will keep an eye on it. It's not a terrible game, and check out the Let's Play if you're interested.
Not terrible at all.
Excellent. Right, Ed, where can we find you?
You can find me at ed_knights on Twitch, on Twitter, and you can see my stuff on Eurogamer.
Yeah, and I'm Biggest Bennis1 on Twitter and Biggest Bennis on Twitch and YouTube. All the links are below in the description if you are watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to it, then just go and type us in. You'll find us. And yeah, if you go to swappingjoysticks.com, you can get all the previous episodes, including links to various things, including our interview with Peter Bramhill and Colin Ryan from Final Fantasy XIV. Speaking of Final Fantasy, what are we doing on Saturday?
We're going to a quiz.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy Union. We are the VIP.
Well, among the VIP.
We are. You're not the. We are not the only ones. Don't we know? We are VIP team captains for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, why am I a VIP? I don't know.
I don't know why I am either. So
we are humble VIPs.
Yes.
Very humble people. VHPs. Vips. Yeah.
Vips.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching and or listening.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.